Good morning and welcome to the UU Congregation of Santa Rosa's first online worship service. This is Reverend Bonnie Dlott, your sabbatical minister, coming to you from Pleasant Hill, where we are safe and happily settled in for some gardening and reading and talking on the phone with friends. I want to open the service this morning with a poem from a colleague, Lynn Unger, and the poem is called Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that you are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Amen.
Our call to worship this morning is from the Reverend Gretchen Haley. There is nothing you need to bring with you to be welcome here. No right beliefs, no proof of citizenship, no eternal optimism or clarity of conviction, no boundless courage or endless expertise. You do not need to know what brought you here or how you will solve that problem you are turning over and over in your mind. Your bills do not need to be paid, and your checkbook can be a mess. Your children may have been up half the night. Your hearing aids might not be working, and your knees might be creaking. You do not need to be already perfect, or even halfway, to belong inside this circle, whereas Anne Lamott reminds us, grace meets us where we are, but does not leave us as it found us, where love resides in each of us, yet is somehow more than all, where life still pulses and rages and heals and transforms, creating us and this day anew. Once again, come, friends, let us worship together. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first experiment in online worship. It is my joy, honor, and privilege to be your assistant minister, the Reverend Dara Olandt. I give thanks for those words that were shared by Reverend Bonnie Dlott, our sabbatical minister, sharing those words by the Reverend Lynn Unger. Right? We know it's been a week. Whether you come here this morning feeling exhausted or weary, whether you come feeling joyful, whether you're not knowing right now how to feel, whether you're wondering what it means to do physical distancing while still feeling socially connected, whether you're wondering what you're going to do with your kiddos that might be unexpectedly home from school, whether you're holding concern for yourself or for someone you love, whether you're holding concern for those around the world and globe. Whether you're feeling kind of an ache in your heart because you can't be together in our beloved community in person this morning, whether you're feeling deeply glad that we are going to experiment with how to be together in new ways, however you are, wherever you are welcome here this morning. Our prelude this morning is with the sound of the singing bowl.
The Wisdom Within by the Reverend Scott Taylor. We gather not to acquire wisdom, but to remember it, to peel away the voices that leave us lost, and return again to that wisdom within, which senses and signals when wholeness is near. May that wisdom be found and guide us on our way.
I'm going to sing the Seven Principles song a little differently than you've heard it before. I'm going to sing a simple melody, and you're welcome to sing the melody with me, or you're welcome to sing it the way that you know it. If you sing it the way that you're used to, we should create a nice harmony. One, each person is worthwhile, to be kind in all you do. 3, let's help each other grow. 4, keep searching for the true. 5, each person has a say. 6, work for a peaceful world. 7, the web of life's the way that will bring us back to you, you.
Good morning. I'm Jen Freese, your Director of Religious Education, and I'm here to walk you through our Time for All Ages this morning. I have for you a body prayer. Now, this body prayer can be done sitting or it can be done standing. So I'm going to walk you through it first, and then you'll have a moment to try it while I narrate, and I have some helpers who will help me in a few minutes, and after that we'll just maybe go through it once or twice on our own without narration. I learned this body prayer from Regional Assembly up in Oregon a few years ago from Reverend Vanessa Rush Southern, who is the minister at the Unitarian Universalist Society in San Francisco. So I want to thank her for teaching that to all of us up there. So the way the body prayer starts is we're going to start in a position of prayer and of gratitude for this moment. And we're going to go ahead and lift our hands up through the weeds, one might say, up to look towards the sky, towards the great big thing. And as we do that, we're going to open our arms wide to sort of take in, all of the blessings that life has for us. And as you hold your arms open, you're going to notice they start to feel heavy, sort of a heaviness with the abundance that we still have, the abundance of our connection that we feel with each other today. Even though we're not together in person, we are together in spirit, and holding my arms out, I can really just feel all of you out there. Then we're going to go ahead and put our arms down, and sort of sweep them through. It's this feeling of running them through water or tall grass, and this feeling of, oh, there's all of these blessings down, and I'm going to go ahead and bring my hands up to cup them with the understanding that some are going to run through my fingers and I can't hold them all because there are so many. And then I hold them to my chest and I make them mine. Any of them that I'm able to hang on to because there are so many. And I bring them to me, and then my last move is I share them with the world. I share them with all of you. All right, can I invite my helpers to come and do this body prayer with me? Okay, so we're gonna start out, friends. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start out with a prayer pose, just right here at our chest. And then from there, we're gonna reach up to the heavens. Oh, wow, there's so much beauty out there. And we're gonna have our arms wide. Wow, they're so wide because there's so much to be thankful for. Oh, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drop them through the water and the grass. And I bring my fingers up, and I know some of them are gonna spill through, but some of them, I bring to my chest. And then I'm gonna go ahead and share them with the world. All these blessings. Let's do it 2 more times, and I'm not going to speak, and you can just follow along with me. Keep doing it. So we're going to start with prayer pose. Can we tell everyone who we are? Let's remember that. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of the open mind, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. This is an altar that we have created in our home. Some of you might already create altars in your homes. If you don't already, I invite you to consider whether that might be a spiritual practice you want to try on. Creating a home altar is a fun and creative way to just bring some reminders to your life about what's important. So here on our altar this morning we've created for worship at our house, I want to share with you all is we have an umbrella tree that's growing, reminding us of the natural world and growth. Bright green shoots. We also have the world, reminding us to keep connected in our heart and mind to those around the globe. The singing bowl reminding us to center, to listen within. And candles, our chalice, and other candles of community, symbolizing the candles of our community. If you want to, I invite you to go ahead and light your own candle at home. You can hit pause on this video or light a candle afterwards. Dear friends, do take an opportunity to light a candle of joy or sorrow or in memory or hope this morning. I invite you now into an experience of prayerful reflection, making any adjustments you might need to bring a little bit more ease to your body and the space. Whether you need to adjust the chair that you're in or lie down, give yourself an opportunity to make a few adjustments that bring you a little bit more ease and support. Settling in, you might feel your back against the chair or the cushion. Feel your feet on the floor. Bring some awareness to your breath. Become aware of the support. The earth holding you up. Your community wrapping you in love. Come home to your own embodied experience. And I offer us these words of prayerful reflection. Spirit of love. Spirit of generous and abiding hope. Spirit of compassion. Allow us an opportunity to become aware for that which we are grateful for. Let us extend care and compassion to ourselves, acknowledging that things don't need to be perfect. Coming home to the way in which we can be appreciative of just right now. Help us to extend care and compassion to those in our community who are in need of solace and support. Help us to feel connected to those across the globe. Spirit of love, Spirit of life, help us remember how deeply connected we are. May our care be with those on the front lines who are helping those in most critical need to navigate this emerging health crisis, medical crisis. Let us remember the doctors. Let us remember the nurses, the medical social workers. Let us remember everyone who is pulling together right now to help keep our communities safe and well. Let us be present to our own hearts, whether there is joy there or sadness. Let us remember it's okay to feel. Let us remember that love is never far from us. And let us give thanks for the opportunity to be with one another in this way. Spirit of love, Spirit of life, we give thanks for all the many blessings. We remember that life itself is not canceled. Even as things might fall off our schedules or seem different, that the world still is growing and teeming, that joy can still be found and resourced in our lives. Let us remember to stay human and to stay hopeful. Let us give great thanks and say amen and blessed be.
I was born with a birth defect, not the kind you notice right away, but It was the dark ages of orthopedics, and my pediatric hip dysplasia was not diagnosed until I was about 18 months old. So began a series of procedures and accommodations. I learned to pay attention to my body and work with its signals and limitations. Early on, I faced the letting go we must all do eventually. Living with this taught me many things. I used visualization techniques to manage pain. I'd lie down, breathe slowly, and imagine that searing pain changing color from red to soothing, hopeful yellow. I'd visualize muscles uncoiling and relaxing. I'm someone who likes to be in charge. I grew up with an expectation that I should take care of everything and do it all more than perfectly. It was not easy to ask for help and to rely on my husband and daughters. I chose physical activities that were less strenuous. No running for me. Instead, I swam and swam and swam, rising at 5:30 3 days a week and heading to the pool. Yoga was fine, and it was also focusing and relaxing. Physical therapy helped me both to heal from surgeries and also to honor realistic goals. Meditation added a spiritual component to the physical work. I found ways to participate in activities at a reasonable pace for my body. I could still hike, but don't forget those hiking poles. When Judy Withy, Margaret Breger-Costin, and I were in Bhutan, the last hike on our final day was to be to the Tiger's Nest, a monastery perched high on a hillside. I'd already fallen a couple of times on the trip, so I was worried. On the day of the hike, I did manage to ride one of the small horses up to the lookout and cafe. We stopped for tea and cookies. I knew better than to attempt the rest of the hike. Instead, I found a quiet place to enjoy the view, watch the birds, and listen to the sounds of the mountain. I could see Tiger's Nest in the distance. I wrote in my journal and found myself grateful I had accomplished this much. The others joined me for the hike down. It was quite a challenge, rocks and roots all along the way, but I made it, and I don't feel like I missed out on anything. The greatest gift from living with this disability has been the body awareness. I must take the time to take care of my body's unique needs. It is deeply spiritual work to let go and find equanimity with what is.
Gonna let life move me, gonna let life stir me deep, gonna let life wake me from that ancient sleep, gonna laugh all my laughter, gonna cry all my tears, gonna love the rain just as deeply as the sun when it clears, gonna let life move me, gonna let life stir me deep, gonna let life wake me from that ancient sleep, gonna laugh all my laughter, gonna cry all my tears, gonna love the rain just as deeply as the sun when it clears, gonna let life move me.
Okay. Is it going?
Yep.
Okay. I'm mad at you. No, not you, me, body. You can't quite seem to get it right. First, the meningitis, then the diabetes, then the mental illnesses, and now what? You can't push hard during a workout or run a marathon or feel energized during work? What are you good for? I'm so sorry. I shouldn't yell my worship, but goodness, I can't take it with this body anymore. She's hungry, sleepy, achy, sore all the time, and she won't ever listen to what I say. I asked her to be skinny, but she likes food too much. I asked her not to be sick, but she adds a new one to the list every week. I'm just so tired of bending over backwards to make sure she's all right when I'm not all right. Wait, I guess I am talking about me, and if me is she, then I am her and we are us? I've lived in this body for 26 long years. Chronic illness plagues me every second of every day. I'm constantly fighting demons that tell me I'm worthless and have nothing to offer this world. I'm freckled with pinpricks from needles that must find their home in me. All of this, and yet here I stand, actually in love with this being that brings me so much pain. When I stop to think about everything I know of this world and of myself, I take my own breath away. How lucky am I to have this body that, despite everything, wakes up for me each day and keeps on fighting? To have a place for this brain, this beautiful, flawed, damaged brain that allows me to read pages upon pages of books, think through problems, and interact with others. How wonderful it is for me to be fat so that I may adorn my skin with artwork. I am a living masterpiece colored with ink and the sun rays of my ancestors. No matter how broken I feel, I am whole. We've been through a lot, my body and I, and for reasons unknown to me, I occasionally don't want it to stick around. But I think we have a good thing going because I fight for her and she fights for me. I tell my college students that at the end of the day, all we can count on is ourselves. Do not discredit your support systems, but don't forget to put you and your bodies first sometimes. I am a body with a curious brain that holds out of the norm ideals on societal things that often get me in trouble. I work hard to be true to myself, and I need to recognize that doing that is not a mistake. I am strange, yes. I am weird, yes. My heart has more space for others than myself. I am who I am because I've worked hard to be this person I was denied for so long. I am enough. I am art.
Doing that spirit says do. You got to do, and that spirit says do. Do 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 do. Doing that spirit says do.
And so you've been hearing reflections on the theme of embodiment. And you know, we didn't plan it this way, but the worship service theme for many weeks has been embodied wisdom. My message today has to do with welcoming in our experience of being fully alive and in our bodies. So often it seems that historically in certain spheres of theology, there's been a disconnect between body, spirit. Today, we honor and reweave those connections, remembering that our experience of being alive and embodies is powerful and is sacred. I invite you to consider what it would mean to pay more attention to your body as a way of checking in and figuring out what it is that you might need. You know, I'll tell you, friends, I myself can go at the speed of light, just going into go, go, go mode. You know, send emails, go to meetings. You know, I'm a mama minister with a little one running around. I often find myself needing to check in with myself, drink water, remember my own breath and body. I invite you to think about what it is that you might learn from your own experience of what your body knows. I wanted to share with you today a brief story when I was pregnant with my young one and getting ready to deliver him into the world. At the time in my life, it was really important for me to, at the time, although my perspective on this personally has changed for myself, but at the time it seemed really important for me, Dara, that I deliver my child or try to deliver my child without medication. I have no judgment for anyone else. But for me, for my own story, that seemed really important. And I did end up through a really powerful process of actually training through hypnobirthing, which really worked for me. I was able to do 10 hours of unmedicated labor, and into the world my young one came. But that's when things actually got really painful and difficult for me. It wasn't actually the 10 hours of unmedicated labor, it was what happened next, where I had some pretty significant medical complications and was in a situation where it wasn't clear that everything was going to go smoothly. And my husband had to make some quick calls about how best to advise the doctors to support me. And at that time, I felt really grateful for his clarity of thinking and partnership. And it turned out that, for the next year, my recuperation physically from the end of that labor was really difficult. Parts of my body hurt that had never really been in pain before. And I couldn't quite match in my waking life the dream that I had thought in my head about how those first months having a newborn would go, where we'd, go for walks and, go hiking or anything like that. I just was in a lot of pain and had to spend a lot of time in bed. And while my heart ached for the dream that I had about how I felt things ought to be, there was a lot that I learned in that time about the humility that comes from listening to the needs of my own body, and in the journey to remember what it is the body has to teach. And while things were different than I wanted them to be, I started to connect with my body in a different way. Everyone's got a complicated relationship to the capacities and limitations of their body. And for me, when I reflect about it, one of the things I remember during that time was resourcing different ways of strength. Sometimes it was hard for me to even get out of bed physically, or I couldn't. And I practiced a lot of meditation and tried to avail myself of compassion for myself, which is not always the easiest for me to do. And I started to feel that my own ability to bring myself compassion was strengthening. And so strength can mean a lot of different things in our society, but I invite you to consider, the wisdom that your body has for yourself, and to remember the power of being embodied in this precious life. Part of my role as a clergy person is that I'm often with people at the end of their lives. I've had to sometimes pray with people over the phone as they are literally in the part of the passage where they're leaving this earthly life in the way that they've been living. And I've certainly been with many people bedside in person. There is so much about the body and our embodied reality that we just don't know. But there's also a tremendous beauty in the complex living that we have in our bodies. And so whether you experience your body as a home that is playful or one that you rail against sometimes, let us remember that it's sacred. We human beings are sacred in our being born. We are sacred in our dying. We are sacred in our wrestling. And let's bring a sense of compassion and wonder to our bodies and our beings. Friends, may you go gently with yourself this day and all days, remembering how deeply held in love you are in the fabric of this universe. Blessed be, and amen.
Do when that spirit says do. You got to do when that spirit says do. Do 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 do. Do when that spirit says do.
Our closing words are also by the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Life comes for us in 1,000 different ways, undoes plans and upends traditions, knocks down the door of our defense in a moment. Every expectation releases, like the in and the out of breath. Life is urgent and also unbearably slow, and does not take well to our fantasies of control. We gather to practice surrendering to the waves of grace and grief through song and silence and story. We come to remember the possibility of a larger call, that we might offer our gifts with a surprising generosity, that we might release ourselves from the needing to know, that we might simply be present to the beauty, these partners, this hope that we make together. Friends, go in peace, being gentle with yourself, finding joy, honoring your embodied experience, grieving, weeping when you need to. Remember, we are always in community. May you take good care until we see each other again. Blessed be, and amen.
You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 You got to sing when that Spirit says sing. Sing when the Spirit you got to sing when that Spirit says sing. Sing, sing, sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing, oh Lord. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 Spirit says sing.
You got to groove when the Spirit says groove.
You gotta be grooving. You gotta be
You've
grooving.
got to groove when the Spirit says groove.
You have got to groove.
When the Spirit says groove,
You've got to groove, oh Lord.
you've got to groove
Got to
when the
groove.
Spirit says
groove. Says groove.
Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove. Spirit says groove.
You've got to rock when the Spirit says rock.
had to crawl before I walk, and now I do the 1-2 step. I heard the spirit and it said the groove, yeah. That's why I do my own shuffle, tapping feet, clapping hands. If you could talk, you could sing. If you could walk, you could dance. Spirit told me bless the track with the vocals, and I come around your city rocking with the locals. Fading out, got my eyes closed. I think the Lord talking to me, gotta get up all in my zone. Candle gazing after doing kundalini. I wrote it in my journal, trying to find the true meaning. It ain't gonna happen overnight, I really ain't stressing. I'ma get the blessing. I don't need Google directions, I just follow spirit. I think I start to hear it. The elders talk about alignment, I just start to get near it. Walk along the path, with it without a clue. When the spirit says do, I make it do what it do. Come on.